right, so I want to talk to you about the championship parade, but before we get there, I got to give your city all the props in the world. They really know how to celebrate after winning these championships because the most I saw, I was waiting for some craziness. I know, in the past, some crazy things have happened, but as it pertains to this championship, Adam, I'm waiting for cars to be set on fire. I'm waiting for just absolute bedlam, madness in the streets. And the most I saw, I did see an ambulance get like tipped over, but for the most part, it was just drunk people climbing light poles, having a good time. I thought Boston handled this championship very well. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, we're a well-oiled machine at this point, right? Because of all the championships that they've celebrated and all the rolling rallies. It's true. It's just a fact, man.
It's a fact.
It's not like, I'm not puffing my chest out or anything. I am a little bit, but it's true. And I think we've learned as a city on how to handle these big crowds and some of the ordinances to put in place. And,
right.
You talked about there's been some moments in the past where there have been tragic moments in the past as well, really early on. And so it's just like, as tragic as those moments were, you have to learn from them.
Right.
And credit to the city, law enforcement in the way and the businesses around TD Garden, the way they're able to handle things. But I think you're right. I mean, I think there were 8 arrests total from last night's celebration. And, again, there are some idiots out there that don't know how to do it right. But I think for the most part, there's a saying, act like you've been there before. And I think after all of these championships, these fans have celebrated the championship more than once, and so I think that's they're acting accordingly. They the ones who aren't are the ones you take care of, but for the most part, I think everybody's behaving themselves, which is great.
All right, parade is on Friday morning. Talk to me, man. I'm a rookie now. I'm not a rookie at championship parades, but I'm a rookie at championship parades here. And to my understanding, everyone in the know tells me the route is pretty much the same as we've seen. I mean, what can I expect, man? Talk to me, baby. I'm ready for this parade, Adam.
Well, I haven't looked at the forecast, so hopefully you can expect some good weather, which is important because we've had some pretty crappy weather in the past, mostly for the Patriots parades. I think that. I think the Celtics one in '08 was nice. I've actually, you know what, Trav? I've covered parades. I've also hosted parade coverage on Nesson from the studio, and I've only attended one out of the 13 as a fan, if you can believe that.
Really? Which was the one you went as a fan? Which one was that?
The first one.
Oh, wow.
The first one. Yeah, so the Patriots' first Super Bowl against the Rams, which was the first rolling rally in the history of Boston for a championship. And it started at Heinz Convention Center, ended at City Hall with a rally. They don't do the rallies anymore. They used to do a rally at City Hall, but I was actually in college. It was my senior year, and I remember it being really cold, and I remember it being really crowded, and I remember being really, while everybody else was really drunk, I remember being really sober because we had baseball practice, we had conditioning practice my senior year in college, and it was obviously a parade during the day, and so we went to the parade really, really sober, and ended up going to practice and doing conditioning. So didn't get to celebrate like the other people around me, but it was really cool. And, I think back watching some of the other parades, whether, covering them or from the studio, like the cool one was 2004. 2004 was unbelievable. There were millions. Trav, it was awesome. Yeah, it was awesome because it was everything. With the Red Sox in the 86 years and finally doing it, beating the Yankees, and then, sweeping the Cardinals, them coming home. And what made that one unique, it was the first one. They took the duck boats in the water, baby. They were in the Charles River.
Wow.
Seeing Pedro pointing, going, all the Dominican flags in the crowd. It was just like that. That's the one. That was my favorite.
Yeah.
I don't know if that you were probably going to ask me what my favorite one was.
No,
That
I
was
just
my
like
favorite.
I like going here. I like going here with you, because obviously, I mean, I would have to imagine 04 was just therapeutic for everyone.
It was
right at that.
It
point.
was, man.
Yeah,
It was one of those things like, like doing those, like you'd interview people.
Yeah.
Before the World Series, talking about like how. I interviewed like a 99-year-old guy, who was alive in 1918, the last time they won the World Series, talking about, and then interviewing him again after they won. And then, the stories of, the dads and the grandfathers, the grandmothers and all the family, who didn't get to see it. Right. And how people were thinking about them because they were such diehard Red Sox fans. And they didn't get to see it, but like the memory of that watching the game with dad or mom or whoever was there with them, and how cool that was. So that was the most emotional. That's what I would say. That was the most emotional out of all the championship parades. And look, the Bruins hadn't won in 39 years. That was a long time too, but 86 years, man.
Yeah,
86 years without a title. And to finally do it and break through was just incredible, and to celebrate it was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I want to ask you about the city as a whole and championships, but my experience with parades is from a different purview altogether because, look, I mean, the first one I got to cover was the Capitals, and that's a team that had won President's Trophy after President's Trophy and then lost in the first round or second round. And here they have this mercurial star in Alexander Ovechkin and he started to get that Dan Marino aura around him where it's like, yeah, boy, all the stats are great, but I don't know if he's ever going to get a cup. And then finally they break through, Adam, and they win this cup. And it was like pleasant surprise. It was like shock through the city. And even in a lot of ways, the coverage and the parade all felt that way. Same with the Nationals. Now, much like yourself, at the Capitals parade, I was there. I was man on the street coverage, and then for the Nationals parade, I was in studio. So it was two different feels for me as well. But even during that run, I mean, they were the most improbable champion you could think of when you look at that playoff pool of those teams, Dodgers, Braves, everyone else. So, it was the same thing, Adam. It was kind of like, oh, wow, the Nationals actually broke through. So being here, it's a completely different temperature. It's like it is. It's expected here, which brings me to this. I mean, since 2001, the four major Boston teams have won 13 championships out of 20 finals appearances. I mean, Adam, like when I got here and I heard Dirty Water for the first time, I understood it. The first time I heard it, I said, "Yep, it's something in that damn Dirty Water," because these teams just continue to win. I know I sound like DJ Khaled. All we do is win, win, win no matter what. But, Adam, it's the truth. What is it about here that brings the championships, man?
It's a number of things, but it's the demand from the fan base, the expectation mentioned, and the ownership groups that have come in here have understood that. Right. And I know that people are frustrated at times with ownership, not doing enough, not spending enough. But the proof is in the titles, man. The proof is, the appearances in title rounds as well. I mean, you mentioned 20 in 24 years. Right. I mean, that's ridiculous. It is. It's insane. So I look at it's an investment. It's an investment in the teams, and knowing that the return is what we're seeing right now with the Celtics and their fans and the celebration and it is different here, man. It really is. There are other great fan bases across the country. There's no question about that, right? And I'm not including international, because I know how passionate those fans are as well. I'm not excluding them, and I know that hockey's an international game. We'll play in Canada. I get all that, but I'm just talking like in the States here.
Mm-hmm.
I know there are great fan bases. I know New York is great. I know Chicago. I get it. I understand that. But this is special, man. This is like this is a quarter of a century worth of titles.
Mm-hmm.
13 titles in a quarter century, just less than a quarter century. It's wild.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I wrote down some of these cities while you even went there. I wrote down New York, Chicago, L.A., Detroit.
Yeah.
I mean, where you have the inventory as well. You have the pro teams as far as a product, and they are great sports towns, and it's no disrespect to any of those other cities. But I do feel as though, even for my career, Adam, like I feel like I'm in the mecca of sports towns, and I don't feel like in terms of marketplace there's anywhere else I can go. There's no other next level in terms of sports cities that I could cover. Like, this is it, brother.